Season 2 of Hell's Paradise opens with a heavy sense of tension and mystery, immediately reminding us that survival on Shinseikyo comes at a terrible cost. The episode begins inside the shogunate's headquarters. Standing alone before the officials is Yamada Asaemon Jika, the only man who returned alive from Shinseikyo. The room is silent, filled with suspicion and fear. The shogunate demands answers. What is the island? What lives there, and why did everyone else die? But Jika doesn't respond the way they expect. Instead of fear or respect, he treats their questions almost like a joke. His tone is careless, his answers vague. He barely explains the true horrors of the island, as if words themselves are meaningless compared to what he witnessed. Frustrated and unsatisfied, the shogunate makes a dangerous decision. They ordered Jika, another Asaemon named Shugen, and a group of Iwagakure shinobi to return to Shinseikyo. The mission is clear: investigate the island and find out what truly happened to those who were sent before. Jika shows no excitement about returning, but Shugen, calm and resolute, accepts the mission out of duty. He believes their fallen comrades deserve answers. Before leaving, Jika reveals that he secretly brought one of the island's monsters back with him, intending to use it as proof that no one should ever return. But the decision has already been made. Shockingly, Shugen isn't afraid of the creature. From a distance alone, he senses something terrifying. The monster is already dead. That realization only deepens the mystery surrounding the island. The scene shifts back to Shinseikyo. Deep within the island, Rien and the Lord Tensen are shown calmly practicing Tao. Their movements are controlled, elegant, and emotionless. Unlike the humans who fear the island, they appear completely at peace, as if Shinseikyo belongs to them. Elsewhere, the surviving group, Sagiri, Yuzuriha, Nurugai, and Shion, regroup and change their clothes, preparing for what comes next. They begin discussing their next move. Secretly, Yuzuriha calculates the best possible plan, one that allows her to leave the island with the most Asaemon, reducing her punishment. Sagiri quickly sees through her intentions, but she doesn't get angry. Sagiri has only one goal. She wants to reunite with Gabimaru. Despite everything, she still believes he might be alive. The group agrees to follow Sagiri's plan, hoping it will lead them to Gabimaru. At the same time, far away on the island, Gabimaru is alive, but not whole. He has lost most of his memories. Alongside Gantetsusai, Mei, and Fuchi, Gabimaru climbs a massive mountain, aiming for Shinseikyo Castle. None of them know that Sagiri's group is heading toward the same destination. Suddenly, their path is blocked. Chobei Aza and his younger brother Toma appear. There is no negotiation, no hesitation. The moment Chobei sees Gabimaru, he attacks. Gabimaru reacts instantly, snapping Chobei's neck with brutal efficiency. To him, the fight is over. But then, something impossible happens. Chobei stands back up, his neck heals in seconds. That's when Gabimaru realizes the truth. The rumors are real. The island's curse has turned men into immortal monsters. A violent battle erupts. Gabimaru attacks relentlessly, tearing off Chobei's fingers, gouging his eyes, even biting him with his teeth, but every wound heals instantly. To Chobei, Gabimaru's attacks are nothing more than an irritation. Chobei counters by using Tao, slamming his power into the ground and splitting it apart, causing the earth itself to shake. Gabimaru is thrown back, his movements unstable, his Tao weakened by his lost memories. Nearby, Dante notices that Gantetsusai has only one arm and assumes he's weak. That mistake costs him. Gantetsusai dodges every attack with ease and knocks Dante down effortlessly, furious at being underestimated. Dante then commands Dochi to attack the others, forcing Fuchi to step in and defend the group. Meanwhile, Chobei continues to dominate Gabimaru. Cornered and overwhelmed, Gabimaru makes a decision. He stops doubting himself. He abandons fear. He sets his own body on fire. With flames surrounding him, Gabimaru unleashes everything he has. The battle instantly shifts. Chobei can no longer keep up with Gabimaru's speed or power. Gabimaru declares that Chobei clings to life, and that's why he can't defeat someone who doesn't care whether he lives or dies. But those words awaken something inside Chobei. Chobei doesn't want to live for himself, he wants to live for his brother. That desire pushes him beyond his limits. Giving himself fully to Tao, Chobei begins to transform. His body turns red, twisted and monstrous, no longer fully human, but not completely a creature either. The fight reaches a terrifying new stage. And with that, the episode ends, leaving the battle unresolved and the fate of both warriors hanging in the balance. Season 2 begins exactly where Hell's Paradise thrives the most: brutal battles, philosophical conflict, and the terrifying cost of survival. The episode begins exactly where the previous episode ended. Gabimaru has Aza tightly restrained and is about to burn him alive using his fire ninjutsu. At that moment, Aza remembers his younger brother, Toma, and says that Toma is the only thing he has left. Driven by that thought, Aza transforms into a monstrous form powered by Tao. This new form allows him to regenerate, making him extremely dangerous. After the opening sequence, the fight resumes. Aza attacks Gabimaru using long tentacles, repeatedly striking him. Gabimaru counters by releasing a powerful fire-based attack, creating a fire tornado that engulfs Aza. Aza blocks the attack and immediately strikes back, continuing to overwhelm Gabimaru. The surrounding fighters watch in shock as the battle escalates. Suddenly, Aza becomes confused. He senses something strange and asks where he is, saying the area feels unnaturally dark. He realizes he can no longer properly see Gabimaru. Gabimaru appears to him as if standing within a dark, swirling space that Aza cannot understand. This only enrages Aza further. He declares that Gabimaru is irritating him and launches another furious attack, vowing to kill him. Tamiya observes the battle and notices that Aza's body is starting to resemble ash. He questions why Gabimaru is not using Tao, the same power that Aza is using. Mei explains that Gabimaru cannot use Tao properly because he has forgotten how. Aza's Tao is far stronger, and at this rate, Gabimaru cannot win. Gabimaru realizes this himself. He thinks that if he dies, another executioner will simply replace him. Because of that, he decides that before dying, he must remove as many obstacles as possible. Killing Aza becomes more important to him than his own life. As Gabimaru prepares to use his ascetic flame technique again, a shadow stops him. The shadow resembles his wife, though Gabimaru does not recognize her because his memories are damaged. Despite this, Gabimaru forces himself forward. Tamiya panics, realizing Gabimaru is about to kill himself at this pace. Fuchi comments that perhaps Gabimaru is fighting for freedom. However, both Gabimaru and Aza have lost sight of their true purpose and are blindly continuing the fight. Toma watches in confusion and pain, wondering why his brother is doing all this and what purpose it serves. He begins to cry, questioning whether Aza is fighting only for him. Meanwhile, Aza has become almost completely blind, consumed by darkness, unable to understand where he is or what he is doing. Toma rushes towards Aza, but one of Aza's tentacles strikes him. Aza realizes too late that the person in front of him is his brother. As Aza prepares to strike, Toma apologizes and says that he thought they were fighting together. He admits that Aza has always fought alone because Toma himself was weak. He tells Aza to wake up and remember that while Toma is only a part of him, Aza is everything to him. At that moment, Gabimaru sees an opening and prepares to burn both Aza and Toma. Mei and Tamiya rush to stop him, knowing that Gabimaru no longer has Tao inside him and will die if he continues. Mei activates her ability, causing the ground to collapse. Aza falls into the pit, while Toma remains above. As Aza falls, he tells Toma to wait for him. Mei collapses unconscious from using her ability. Fuchi restrains the monster, intending to study it. When Mei awakens later, everyone is shocked to see that she has rapidly grown into a teenager. No one understands how or why this happened. The scene shifts to Sagiri, who is holding the severed head of Hoko while standing with the others. Strange sounds echo throughout the area, making everyone uneasy. Yuzuriha comments that the island is full of mysteries and questions who created it and for what purpose. Hoko reflects internally, realizing that the island is an artificial experimental site designed for life itself. himself. He senses that something is deeply wrong. Humans killing the Tensen are changing the island, and he wonders if he can remain the same because of it. The scene changes back to Gabimaru's group. Fuchi has restrained Toma and Adoshi. Mei, now grown, is wrapped in Tamiya's clothes. Tamiya carries the unconscious Gabimaru. The two groups reunite, and confusion fills the air as everyone tries to understand what is happening. Hoko thanks the group for allowing him to meet Mei again and asks about the monsters. Tamiya says they defeated them and captured Adoshi. Fuchi is confused because Hoko is only a head, yet can still speak. Hoko realizes that these humans have done the impossible by killing a Tensen and believes they might change the entire island. Later, Fuchi stands at Senta's grave, remembering him and quietly crying. The surviving group is shown together as Shion analyzes the situation. Out of many participants, only 8 remain after just 3 days. Sagiri insists they cannot move yet because Gabimaru and Mei are both unable to walk. She hugs Mei, shocked by how much she has changed. Shion reflects on how horrifying it is that so many have died in such a short time. Tamiya points out that they were never allies to begin with and accuses Toma of being dangerous. He suggests killing him, but Sagiri stops him, saying she cannot watch anyone die unless necessary. Tamiya is surprised by her resolve. Yuzuriha reminds everyone that Gabimaru is dying. Shion explains that Gabimaru has overused Tao and could die at any moment. Fuchi says he has treated the wounds, but the damage might be to Gabimaru's core, not just his body. Suddenly, Gabimaru stands up. He feels weak and confused, surrounded by unfamiliar faces. He says he is fine and just needs rest. Sagiri asks him who he is. Gabimaru answers that he is Gabimaru the Hollow. Thinking Gabimaru might attack, Shion and Huchi strike first, but Sagiri stops them. She realizes Gabimaru's Tao has become unstable, damaging his memories and soul. Shion confirms that Gabimaru's soul is badly deteriorated. Sagiri approaches him and explains that he has lost his memories, but Tao can heal him. She tells him she is not his enemy. As she speaks, she remembers their past together. She insists that she is her friend and asks him to trust her. Gabimaru feels empty, but notices his strength slowly returning as Sagiri touches him. Mei observes that Sagiri is circulating Tao through Gabimaru's body to heal him. Shion realizes that their Tao resonates with each other. Sagiri tells Gabimaru that to fully recover, they must work together. She asks if there is someone she wants to see again. Gabimaru begins to remember fragments of his wife. The scene cuts away. Aza is shown surviving the fall and regenerating. He realizes Tao consumed him and that he lost his sanity. Despite how dangerous it is, he becomes excited, believing that once he masters this power, no one will be able to stop him. He then notices multiple monsters approaching and prepares to fight them to practice using Tao. The scene returns to the group resting inside a cave. They discuss the danger of the Tensen. Gabimaru remembers fighting near the gate, confirming his memories are slowly returning. Gabimaru apologizes for his earlier actions. He explains that his goal remains the same, obtaining the elixir of life so he can return and live peacefully with his wife. Yuzuriha questions whether his wife is even real and suggests it might be all an illusion. Gabimaru responds by describing his wife in vivid detail, her voice, scent, smile, and presence. He says her name is Yu and insists she is real. Escaping the island and seeing her again is his true goal. Tamiya accepts Gabimaru, saying he likes him and was planning to kill monsters anyway. Shion explains that Gabimaru's greatest weakness is also his greatest strength. The final scene returns to Aza, who has defeated the monsters. A powerful figure appears behind him. Lord Tensen, Rien. Rien asks Aza if he is the one who killed Mudon.
The episode begins immediately after the previous confrontation. Aza comes face to face with a powerful being named Rien. Rien refers to Aza as an outsider and questions whether he was responsible for killing Mudon. Before Aza can respond, Rien launches an attack. Aza narrowly avoids it and prepares himself for battle. As the fight continues, Rien senses something unusual within Aza. Instead of killing him outright, Rien becomes curious about Aza's nature. The opening sequence plays. After the opening, the scene shifts to Fuchi and the others. Mei's condition continues to worsen. At first, everyone assumes she is exhausted from overusing her strength, but it becomes clear that she is suffering from a serious fever. Fuchi reveals the truth. Mei is not a normal child. She is one of the Tensen. He confirms that he personally witnessed her using supernatural powers. The group begins to fear Mei, viewing her as a monster. However,
However, Fuchi insists that killing her would be a mistake. Despite limited resources, he decides to create medicine to stabilize her condition. In exchange, Fuchi demands information. He wants Mei to explain everything she knows about the Tensen and the island. Because Mei struggles to communicate clearly, Usagi helps interpret her words, while Fuchi listens carefully. As he works on the medicine, fragments of the island's secrets are slowly revealed. The scene then shifts to Gabimaru. Gabimaru gathers the group and explains that his memories have fully returned, but his combat instincts have dulled. To restore them, he asks everyone to attack him with full intent. Tamiya reacts angrily, refusing to treat Gabimaru like a training dummy. Then Gabimaru turns to Toma and tells him not to hold back if he truly wants to kill him. Eventually, everyone agrees. As the fight begins, Gabimaru realizes that relying only on his senses is not enough. He begins to feel and react to Tao directly. Toma's speed overwhelms him. Tamiya's strength forces him on the defensive. Under normal circumstances, Gabimaru would lose. Instead, he targets their weak points using minimal force, proving that precise Tao control can overpower brute force. During the battle, Gabimaru reaches a crucial realization. The Tensen cannot be defeated through Tao manipulation alone. They have spent thousands of years mastering it. He changes his strategy. Rather than fighting against the Tensen's Tao, he decides to use the surrounding Tao itself against them. The stronger the attack he receives, the stronger the reaction he can redirect back. This method may work against the Tensen, but Gabimaru admits that it is still incomplete. Sagiri steps forward and asks Gabimaru to train her, not for revenge, but to survive. Toma also kneels before Gabimaru, asking to become strong enough to stand alongside his brother. Gabimaru accepts. The episode returns to Aza and Rian. Aza confirms that Rian is far more powerful than any doshi. He is a true Tensen. Rian explains that the Waitan Hua flower transforms humans into Tan, but Aza managed to control his Tao before it was consumed. This revelation shocks Rian. As the battle intensifies, Aza releases the power of the Waitan Hua flower once more. His body mutates into a monstrous form, yet his consciousness remains intact. Aza identifies Rian's weakness, the navel. He launches a decisive attack. Rian fails to regenerate. This confirms that destroying a Tensen's navel can kill them. However, Aza reaches his physical limit. Then Rian reveals the truth. This body was only a clone. The real body exists elsewhere. Aza collapses unconscious. As his vision fades, he is taken away. Aza awakens inside an unfamiliar structure. Rian greets him and explains that his body is extremely valuable. The process that should have turned him into Tan instead caused his human Tao to overpower the flower Tao, creating a miracle she has never seen in 1,000 years. Rian explains that she intends to study him through Bochu Jutsu, a technique that circulates Tao between two individuals. This process will also heal Aza's weakened Tao. She explains that all Tao possesses attributes: wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. Depending on compatibility, Tao interaction can either weaken or restore a person's life force. Aza agrees to cooperate, but only to master Tao and survive. He makes it clear that he has no intention of submitting. During their interaction, Aza questions Rian about the island. She reveals that both the island and the Tensen were created by a single human, a hermit named Shufu, also known as Jofuku. Jofuku researched immortality based on Taoist principles. On this island, he discovered a way to directly manipulate Tao by blending the life force of living beings. Through countless experiments, the Tensen were born, beings formed from both human and plant Tao, existing as both male and female. For 1,000 years, the Tensen have refined their Tao, while ordinary humans lose theirs over time. No human can defeat them through strength alone. Rian explains that the Tensen are developing Gai Tan Hua, a method to grant immortality to anyone regardless of training. This method is the true elixir of immortality. The Tan used by the Tensen are imperfect prototypes, created by consuming human life force. They gather humans like nectar, absorbing their Tao to extend their own lives. If the elixir is perfected, the target will not be limited to the island, it will extend to the entire mainland. Meanwhile, Mei's condition worsens. Her body begins transforming into a tree, and she is unable to heal herself. It is revealed that Mei's Tao is incomplete due to her core being destroyed long ago by another Tensen named Rien. She lacks the ability to circulate Tao on her own. An elderly Tensen decides to sacrifice himself. He transfers his remaining Tao to Mei, knowing it will cause him to fully transform into a tree. Before disappearing, he reveals his past, that he once had a wife and daughter who were turned into trees. Seeing his daughter in Mei, he forced her to play the role of family for centuries. He apologizes for his selfishness and entrusts his life to save her. Mei survives. After recovering, the group regathers. Gabimaru and the others discuss their plans moving forward, though trust remains fragile. Suddenly, Mei senses something terrifying. A massive presence is approaching from the ocean. The Tao is immense. There are many individuals, and they are extremely strong. The episode ends with the looming arrival of a new and overwhelming threat. Episode 4 begins with the shogunate officially announcing a new expedition to the island. This time, 4 Yamada Asaemon are being sent alongside 4 Iwagakure ninja and more than 50 of their subordinates. Among the executioners are Shugen and Jika, along with 2 new faces, Isuzu and Kiyomaru. Although Isuzu and Kiyomaru have no official rank, their strength is undeniable. Kiyomaru, in particular, is extremely proud of his abilities and reacts angrily when others question his unranked status. During his outburst, Kiyomaru threatens one of the shinobi and slices the mask of another ninja standing nearby to intimidate them. However, none of the ninja react or move, which only fuels his anger further. When the masked shinobi calmly explain that they are present solely to follow orders, Kiyomaru cruelly tells one of them to die. Without hesitation, the shinobi says he is relying on the ninja beside him and immediately commits suicide with his own sword, shocking everyone present. Shugen remains deeply suspicious of the Iwagakure ninja, unaware that their true mission is to assassinate Gabimaru. Once the group arrives on the island, Mei senses their presence from within the cave. Sagiri is visibly happy at the thought that Shugen may be there, and the other Yamada Asaemon acknowledge his exceptional strength. Shugen has trained with all of them and commands immense respect, possessing unmatched skill and even some understanding of Tao. When a massive monster suddenly appears, Shugen shows no fear. Using Tao, which he refers to as waves, he calmly senses the creature's weak point and kills it instantly with a single punch, severing its head. He then proceeds to eliminate every other monster in the area, declaring that his teammates should not dirty their swords with such insignificant foes. Despite Shugen's overwhelming strength, Shion is clearly unhappy about his presence. Sagiri is surprised by this reaction, unaware of the deep resentment Shion harbors toward Shugen. This hatred stems from a past incident where the shogunate captured a criminal who refused to reveal the location of his allies. Shugen was summoned, and in response, he systematically executed everyone connected to the bandit, including his entire family and even children, killing over 100 people. Although Shugen cried while carrying out the massacre, he believed it was necessary, reasoning that the bandit's family would simply continue his crimes if left alive. As the group explores the island further, Shugen discovers the body of Aizen. Overcome with grief, he breaks down in tears, remembering their time together as friends. Even in a land filled with monsters, Shugen and the others take the time to properly bury Aizen and pray for him. This act deeply surprises the new shinobi leader, who begins to notice the contrast between Shugen's brutal strength and his emotional depth. Their prayer is suddenly interrupted when another monster attacks. Enraged by this interruption, Isuzu and Kiyomaru violently assault the creature, killing it within seconds. As more monsters appear, the ninja leader orders her genin to engage. A large group of shinobi swarms the creatures, overwhelming them through sheer numbers. One monster foolishly attacks Shugen immediately after he finishes praying. Without even looking at it, he slices it apart effortlessly. He then deliberately damages his blade, making it jagged so that it will cause more suffering to the creatures he faces next. The group captures one of the monsters alive and discovers that that it can speak, they hand it over to the ninja for interrogation before moving away from the shore and heading deeper into the forest. Meanwhile, Shion informs his team that they should split into two groups, one tasked with finding the elixir of life and the other focused on discovering an escape route from the island. He also explains that different Tao attributes can be used to kill the Tensen. However, Yuzuriha points out that there's no guarantee they will survive such an attempt and openly states that she would rather escape the island instead. Shion understands her hesitation and enters the cave, telling everyone to choose whether they want to follow him or go their own way. In the end, everyone decides to go after him, knowing that staying together offers the best chance of survival. The episode ends with both groups moving forward into greater danger as alliances form and hidden intentions begin to surface. Episode 5 of Hell's Paradise Season 2 begins with Fuchi explaining a possible escape plan from the island. He reveals that escaping by sea is nearly impossible because massive sea monsters surround the island and block all normal routes. However, there is one exception. Beneath the giant citadel lies a hidden tunnel that leads directly to the sea, where a boat is kept. The sea monsters have been trained to avoid this specific route, making it the safest way to escape. Reaching this tunnel will not be easy. The group would need to pass through dangerous territory controlled by the Tensen and their followers. Because of this, Shion asks Gabimaru and Yuzuriha to teach everyone their stealth techniques so they can avoid combat and move unseen. Yuzuriha explains her substitution technique and emphasizes the importance of suppressing one's Tao to hide their presence. After that, Gabimaru shares his new fighting strategy, which combines martial arts with the compatibility between different Tao types. He surprises everyone by demonstrating his ability to dislocate his neck and arms, showing how adaptable his body is in combat. Shion then identifies each person's Tao type. Using this information, he divides the group into two teams. One team will infiltrate the citadel to obtain the elixir of life, while the other team will secure the escape route and find the boat. Gabimaru, Sagiri, and Yuzuriha are assigned to retrieve the elixir, while the rest focus on the escape route. Everyone is warned to not fight the Tensen under any circumstances. Stealth is the top priority. Before moving out, Gabimaru speaks privately with Mei. He asks her what she truly wants, knowing she could have escaped the island long ago. Mei says she wants to live a normal life, but first she needs answers. She wants to confront Rien and Shufu to understand why they changed. Her desire resonates deeply with Gabimaru. Meanwhile, the Tensen are also making their move. Chobei completes a ritual, after which Rien takes him to a research facility. There, Chobei is shown a gigantic flower called Banko, capable of refining enormous amounts of tan. However, the flower is not permanent and will eventually wilt. Rien notices that Chobei's Tao is different from others and asks for his cooperation to produce both higher quality and greater quantities of tan. Although disturbed by their experiments and fearful of their true goal, Chobei agrees, choosing to prioritize his own objective. Later, the executioners decide to invade the citadel at night when the Tensen's Tao is at its weakest. Gabimaru's team moves first. While scouting ahead, Gabimaru notices that there are very few enemies and no sign of the Tensen. He signals the escape route team to proceed. Gabimaru and Yuzuriha silently eliminate every doshi in their path with precise and efficient attacks, clearing the way for Sagini and Mei. Eventually, the group reaches Rien's temple, where the elixir is believed to be stored. As soon as they enter, Ran suddenly appears. He reveals that he had been hiding by completely suppressing his Tao. Ran announces that Gabimaru's plan has already failed. It is then revealed that Chobei betrayed the group. Viewing everyone on the island as his enemy, Chobei informed Rien about all the intruders. Because he can sense his brother Toma's Tao, Chobei made a deal with the Tensen. He agreed to alert them when Gabimaru and the others came for the elixir. In return, it is implied that he negotiated for his brother's safety. As a result of this betrayal, the Tensen have already separated the group. Each team is now being targeted by a different Tensen. Their goal is to capture humans with powerful Tao for further experimentation. Realizing the situation, Gabimaru remembers his own warning that no one should fight the Tensen. Now surrounded and cut off from the others, he understands that they have entered completely uncharted territory, and escape without confrontation is no longer possible. The episode ends with the group trapped, divided, and forced into direct conflict with the Tensen.
This episode of Hell's Paradise Season 2 begins with Gabimaru realizing that their original strategy has completely failed. Escaping from the Tensen is impossible. There is no safe path forward anymore. So he declares that it is time for Plan B. If they cannot flee, then they will fight, defeat the Tensen, and take the elixir of life by force. Before the battle truly begins, Ron calls out to Mei and tells her to return to his side. He calmly explains that the elixir of life will soon be complete, and opposing the Wei Tanhua flower is pointless. According to him, everything is already set in motion, but Mei refuses. She declares that she is leaving the island. Her decision immediately places her against Ron. Gabimaru quickly understands the danger of the situation. Ron is not like the other Tensen they have faced. When Gabimaru tries to use his Tao to hinder Ron, it has no effect. Ron's control is far superior. Realizing they cannot win easily, Gabimaru gives orders. He tells Mei and Sagiri to run ahead and search for the real Renton Palace. He tells Uzuriha to stay behind with him because she is the only one capable of delivering a killing blow if an opening appears. However, they soon discover something shocking. They are not in the real Renton Palace at all. Ron reveals that he used his Tao to rearrange the structure of the palace itself. He manipulated inanimate objects and altered the layout, even changing its energy signature to make it appear genuine. From the very beginning, they were walking through a controlled environment created by Ron. There is now only one option left. They must defeat him to move forward. The fight begins, and immediately the difference in power becomes clear. Gabimaru attacks, but his strikes fail to do meaningful damage. Uzuriha joins in, but her attacks also seem ineffective. The reason is soon revealed. Ron has covered his entire body in a protective armor made of Tao. This defense makes him far sturdier than the Tensen they previously defeated. Ron does not rely on only strength. He demonstrates incredible skill and experience. While fighting, he manipulates the floor and the pillars around them, causing Gabimaru to lose balance and trapping him mid-movement. The battlefield itself becomes a weapon under Ron's control. Despite the overwhelming disadvantage, Gabimaru and Uzuriha are not fighting blindly. Gabimaru signals that it is time to begin their real strategy. He suddenly lands a direct punch to Ron's face, surprising him. Gabimaru explains that instead of overpowering Ron's Tao, he is dampening his own. By lowering and controlling his Tao output at precise moments, he can deflect incoming attacks and redirect the force back at Ron. It is not raw power, but refined control. While this battle unfolds, Rian is observing everything from afar. Thanks to information provided by Chobe, the Tensen have gained knowledge about all the invaders on the island. They understand their enemies' Tao attributes and fighting tendencies. Other battles are also taking place across the island. Jujin is fighting Shion and Nurugai. Although they are capable of injuring Jujin, they lack the experience needed to secure victory. Taofa and Jufa are fighting Fuchi, Gentitsai, and Toma. Meanwhile, Chobe stands nearby, preparing to persuade his brother to side with the Tensen. Back in the palace, Gabimaru continues holding Ron's attention, allowing Mei and Sagiri time to escape and search for the real Renton Palace. Ron is briefly distracted by this development. Uzuriha immediately takes advantage of the opportunity. Using her string with perfect timing, she slices Ron cleanly in half. For a moment, it seems like they have succeeded, but Ron calmly regenerates. Then he decides to stop holding back. His body begins to bloom with flowers, and he transforms into his monstrous flower form. His appearance becomes more terrifying, and the pressure of his Tao increases dramatically. Gabimaru and Uzuriha immediately grow cautious. They understand that this is a completely different level of power. Ron's attacks become faster and far more destructive. The two of them cannot afford to take even a single direct hit. Recognizing the danger, Uzuriha makes a decision. She tells Gabimaru that they must retreat. Using her string, she pulls him toward her and even carries him to escape. For someone who usually prioritizes herself, this is a rare moment of risking her life for another person. But Ron does not allow them to escape. He quickly catches up. When Ron attacks, Gabimaru moves to protect Uzuriha, even though both of them previously claimed they would prioritize
prioritize their own survival. Now they risk themselves for each other. That hesitation proves fatal. Ran easily breaks through Gabimaru's defenses. With overwhelming force, he perforates Gabimaru. Gabimaru collapses, severely wounded and barely alive. Uzuriha watches in horror as her partner lies there, more dead than alive. The episode ends on that devastating moment, leaving Gabimaru's fate uncertain.